Hello guys and welcome back to Reborn with Michael Watson. Today I'm talking about my awakening. I had an awakening a few years ago and it was my truest spiritual awakening. I've had two experiences of awakening that I thought, but the second one was a true one, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Before I get into that, if you like Spirituality Simplified, consider like, sharing and subscribing on this video. Share it with your friends, spread the word, let's build this community. Or join my free Facebook group, The Healing Circle, which is linked in the description. It's a wonderful group of like-minded people. There's over 1,500 of us in there now. So let's get into this, okay? So before I get into it, let me describe it. So the first time I had a sort of awakening was when I had these physical ailments and I studied and healed my body, stopped hair loss, chronic throat pain, digestive issues. Now the interesting thing with that was I did it, but I didn't actually quantify it enough until later in my life when I had a true awakening, because I didn't then nourish the truths that I discovered. So what happened was I had a mini awakening almost, but because I didn't nourish those truths and live by those truths, I went back into the patterns of fear and scarcity, lack and disconnection. Do you see where I'm coming from? So this is what the thing that was pushing me back into these old patterns of pain and hurt. So it all culminated in these ideas of moving to Spain, escaping the COVID, doing random things, just acting on fear all the time, always trying to manage my fear rather than actually experience life. Now I had moments of happiness and connectivity and all of that, of course, I'm a human, but the underlying factor of my driving force was fear. And it all culminated in the time when I was living in Spain in this townhouse that we didn't really like. I had no money in the bank and it was me providing for my children and my family, and I just got to the point where I was like, I have been meditating, I've been praying, I've been doing all of these things and nothing works. Nothing works. Well, that was it. I'd had enough. It was at the point where I was like, it's time to give up maybe. Maybe it's just time to give up. But that was when it awoke in me. I don't want to give up. I don't want to leave this earth. It wasn't a thought of suicide or anything. It wasn't a thought of wanting to leave. It was a thought of it wasn't a thought of I'm ready to leave this existence, this earth. It was a thought of I'm ready to not feel this way anymore. So the true death was the death of the emotional self. So what it was I realized the part of me that needs to leave is this one that is so reactive and responsive to life. That's the part of me that needs to leave. So I decided to go on a journey of discovery of how to simplify that process. And I went on that discovery, and that's why I started this channel. I started to realize that the feelings that I'm experiencing aren't me. There's something that I am the awareness of. So I started to see they had less and less importance. I started to focus on them. Release, relax, let go, and then re-intend. I used to relax, release, re-intend. That was it. So I would relax my body, become the observer. It would finally release, and then I'd re-intend. What happened though? My life literally within 6 weeks started to transform. I went from someone who had nothing to someone who had more clients than I could literally allow in. It was like something had taken over my life, and this was the idea of awakening. Something had taken over my life. The river of peace, the divine guidance, the life principle that flows through all of this existence started to take me, because now I wasn't so concerned with what was happening in front of me. I was concerned about how I was feeling on the inside. So then it didn't matter what happened. I became non-responsive and then more intentional towards what I want. So I started to be carried along a path rather than trying to create it all the time. Rather than trying to fight against what was, I accepted it for what it is and let go of any emotion around it, and started to trust that divine guidance and infinite intelligence knows a better answer to this and a better solution to this than I could ever imagine. So it's not for me to worry, it's for me to let go, relax, re-intend, right? So I did that. So my awakening brings me to this conclusion. What I've started to realize is the more I'm letting go, the more I'm connecting to interesting things that are happening. For example, I want to tell you an example of how releasing and letting go is really... I was doing a session with a client the other day, And as my clients, sometimes I guide them through a meditation to let go, I was shutting my eyes as I do it, and I often do this. And I was breathing into the energy. I was letting go too. And I was just letting myself be guided to guide, in essence. And then suddenly I went, what was that? To the client. She said, what? Because I often talk them through the meditation, so they're meditating, but they're talking back to me about the energy, and I'm guiding them through it. I said, what happened there? Something has happened. She said, something just spoke to me. So I don't know what it was, like a voice, what do you want to call it, God, or it said for me, it's finally time to let go now. And I did, and now all the anxiety's gone, all the fear's gone. Now this is someone who was suffering with an autoimmune disease, so the body was attacking itself. There was some level of dislove or guilt towards the self that the body was attacking. But in this moment, she let it go. That's when the release happened. That's when the release happened. Wow. And I felt it too, because now that I'm in a place of non-resistance, we were 1,000 miles away. So what I realized again from this place of awakening, it has allowed me to access connectiveness and flow and effortlessness like I've never realized. You can connect to it too by just starting to realize that the things happening outside of you really have no meaning except what meaning you give them. It's time to realize that you do not need to control the environment. You need to surrender to the environment, and it will guide you better. When I say surrender to the environment, it doesn't mean you're non-intentional. It just means that you surrender to what is and accept it without emotion. And then you can start to change, you know? So that is my point today. That's the video I wanted to make. Simple one. What do you think about it? Comment down below. Have any of you had an awakening?